NBA has been underwhelming. I think there's no other way to put it. Like the Celtics have been a wagon to their credit. What are they, 12-2 in the playoffs so far? And like we were ready to come in here doing a full NBA Finals preview, assuming the Mavs pulled off their sweep, which they didn't. But it sounds like we're looking at like 10 days in between basketball games here. So I think that's a sign right there that things haven't been super competitive.
Yeah. No, I'm with you. Like if I'm grading it, I'm probably giving it like a C-.
Oh yeah, you wanted a grade.
I don't know. You know, like it's
C- for the NBA and a B for the NHL.
Well, because the NBA, it's not only has it been, to your point, just relatively uneventful, but the star power isn't even there. Like
That's
there's
a problem
so many
too.
guys that have been out hurt, which I mean, it's kind of they're both kind of the same thing. I'm saying the same thing.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, you're getting a watered down version of every single team. So it's just like, how are you supposed to get up for that? There's no juice.
This is a take on which I've been ruminating the last couple of days, and I had no outlet to express it. So I'm glad that we're now doing this.
Thank God.
I probably said some things 5-6 years ago about the NBA Finals and the playoffs being a little fatigued with the Warriors and a little fatigued with LeBron.
God, I'd do
Bring
anything.
me back right now.
Yeah.
It's again, everything I look at is through my own lenses. I'm very self-centered, but like the finals always kind of falls around when I'm on vacation. And so I'm like, I have vivid memories of like that block and just being like feet up on the couch. And the vacation
like a Sunday
rental.
night,
I
think.
Right.
You know, remember the weather, obviously.
I still remember sitting down for a late Sunday night dinner and having the game on at the table on like my phone. Like and like, I think the star power, especially in a sport like basketball and maybe to a lesser extent football, is not underrated because we all acknowledge it. But when it's not there, you see how much of a difference it makes. And I think the NBA is kind of in a weird spot right now where like 4 years from now, the idea of the Celtics, assuming that they still have Tatum and Brown and whoever else going up against like the Timberwolves with the core that they have, could be that.
Yeah.
But it still feels early, and without that star power, it's tough. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean the other part of it too is like the amount of player movement in the NBA. It's like sometimes you're like, I forget which team this guy plays.
Well,
for.
that's a big reason I'm out on college sports for the most part too. It's like it's just hard to
cultivate that attachment
continuity.
To all these teams.
Yeah.
And then with the NHL, it's like the one thing that's kind of lacking for me. It's we're aesthetic guys, right?
Yes.
Like
I
wish there was more of like a old school original six sort of
That's
flair
the thing,
in there.
like,
It's hard for me to get up for a Dallas in the Western Conference Finals, as good as they might be. It's just like
if they contracted 10 teams in the NHL, I'd be not happy. But I would be okay
the idea
with
of
it.
Florida, Dallas, and the Stanley
That's the
Cup
thing, right?
is like terrifying.
But I was actually thinking this the other day. The Rangers Oilers, now we're kind of talking.
You get there.
Like
I could get there. Yeah,
that feels.
You get
like,
star power, on both sides, and also just like
because
you got
juxtaposition,
a Canadian
the
team,
markets.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's what we need. Need that, but
juxtaposition of markets.
No, that particular Stanley Cup final.
Commodities, futures.
Yeah.
This is now a banking and trading podcast.
It could be. I wouldn't rule that
So,
out.
You want to get into the Celtics?
Yeah, I think that's a good place to, I'd say start, but we're kind of 15 minutes into this thing with our
we are just
rambling, incoherent
stream
thoughts
of
on summer and the
consciousness. Celtics going to the NBA Finals, sweeping the Pacers. I did look pretty prescient on Saturday night. I tweeted, I said, I'm going to bed. Congratulations to the Celtics on their comeback. And they came back and won. And they did it to a much lesser extent on Monday night in Game 4 to pull off the sweep. What do you take out of that series? I don't think there's a whole lot to really even sink your teeth into. We're still waiting to see who they play in the finals, but like, I can't. Maybe we had this conversation last week. I keep oscillating between whether I want to give them credit for just one of the most dominant performances I've ever seen, or just be like, I don't know what to take from this, because to their credit, they've I was going to say something bad. Oh man, that was close. To their credit, they have run through their opposition.
Yeah.
But like, there have been injuries. You can't deny that. I understand you play who's in front of you, and they've done it in a very dominant fashion. I just don't know what I'm supposed to take from that. Maybe they are generationally good. I don't.
Can't two things be true? That this is the easiest path ever to the NBA Finals, at least in modern history, whatever,
Sure.
like however long this format has been in place, and that they also are one of the best teams that we've seen in recent memory.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, so like I know everybody kind of wants to dump on the path now. It's like I get it, but if they win the finals this year, in 10 years, are we going to really, really remember how soft it's been?
Is it poor take making for me to say I agree with that part of it, but until that happens, I can nitpick, for lack of a better term? Because I do agree. If they go on and win the title, whether it's in 4 games or it's in 7 games or anything in between, it doesn't matter. Flags fly forever. They have been the best team all season long, so it is a fitting achievement for them. So, I agree, 100%.
Yeah.
Like, down the road, we're not going to care or even mention it. So, I do. Maybe I'm speaking out of both sides of my mouth, but it's...
I mean, I just, you look back at, I think it was in the Ringer, they basically had a breakdown of the easiest paths to the NBA Finals, and... I mean, you could go back to like the 1980s Lakers and some of their paths to the finals that, based on team record and all that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, hell, you look at, if you want to go back to like the 50s and 60s, like the teams that Bill Russell was beating.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like they had, I think, a bye until the conference finals and they beat some sub 500 team and boom, they're in the finals. It's like, all right, we could probably nitpick a lot of these teams over the course of history. And the other thing is, it's like, I honestly don't think that if you could have all of these teams at full strength, I don't think it would make a difference. I think the Celtics would still be very much in there. They were good wire to wire. The roster backs it up. This is this isn't a fluky thing. It's been, they've been in the conference finals or NBA finals for the better part of a decade now. Like it's just, it feels legit.
I just don't feel as strong making some of the points that you're making based on like if other teams are full strength, because I think the ability to be full strength and the ability to have all guns blazing is the sort of thing that tests anyone, but especially has tested them, and like they have failed that test from time to time. So I guess it's hard to hold it against them without knowing whether it would have happened. But like I just think what Jimmy Butler is a guy who has given them fits in the past and is a guy who kind of flexes his muscles on them. That there is a established path of that. Like they got to the finals a couple of years ago and they got punked by a better veteran-laden team. So like they haven't had to answer those questions necessarily. Sure. So I think that's where I'm a little bit unsure of what I'm looking at relative to the past, because there are things like that are just aren't even applicable compared to past years.
Yeah, I think I'm just more focused on like the tangible than the intangible. Like with the Celtics, it's the questions are like, can they get over the hump?
That's my
like,
thing.
Do they have that championship DNA?
Everything to which I'm referring is intangible.
Yeah,
I understand.
I just feel like this team is so much better than the other iterations that they've had.
That part I agree. Now I'm just talking out of every side. I'm running out of sides of my mouth to talk out of. But I technically agree with that. But like I do think it comes back to those two guys at the top, right?
Sure.
But the brilliance or the genius with the roster construction here, and we saw this especially, and that I guess we did learn something from the Indy series. This
is what we do. We just stumble into it.
Yeah, whatever. I mean, this is what happens when you don't do enough prep, I guess. The Drew Holiday of it all. Like, it didn't matter if, like, both of those guys could go quiet, and, like, Drew Holiday is so just solid that he's going to make up for that. And, like, just
Drew
having
Holiday gives you everything Marcus Smart gave you without the Marcus Smart aspect of it. Like,
and so that raises the floor considerably.
Yeah.
And maybe he doesn't raise the ceiling as much as Marcus Smart does. I would argue maybe he does, honestly.
Oh, I absolutely does. Yeah.
And like Derek White is better than he was last year. He's better than he was the year before. But like he's gotten better every single year he's been here. So and then Porzingis just lingering as well. So yeah, they have that those concerns that I was talking about, and not having seen those play out aren't as
right. So
pertinent this time because they have so much more depth.